Hello, Brabs. We got books. Lots and lots of books. Books. Lots of books, Rob. These are the ones I bought today at the half off sale, Bob. 2 bags worth. I think it was only $5 for all of them. $5 for 57,000 books. Turn the music down a little bit, Bobs. Anguished English, Rob. An anthology of accidental assaults upon our language. I figured I might as well do these actual book hauls live too, bruv. Why not? Just make it more ridiculous. Let's get one word out of this book. On a New Hampshire highway, you are speeding when flashing. What the fuck does that mean? On an Ohio highway, drive slower when wet. What does this mean? No, these must just be things you've seen on the road, bruv. A truck backed through my windshield and into my wife's face. In an attempt to kill a fly, I drove into a telephone pole. I don't know what the fuck this has to do with English, bruv. Anyway, we got Mandy, one of the year's 10 best-selling children's books. I bought it because it was selling. Well, I bought it because of this. This guy's book label at the beginning. And because this lady looks like a witch. Didn't even read what it was about. It said something about a enchanting story of a lonely little girl and the special secret that changed her life. An endearing modern fairy tale with all the old-fashioned ingredients, an orphaned heron, a deserted cottage, an admirer, and a well-nigh perfect ending. A gently romantic story which will have great appeal for little girls. Christian Science Monitor. I bought it to resell because it's worth about $10. I think I paid 30 cents. Life After Life by Raymond Moody. Actually, probably have 2 or 3 copies of this, but can never have enough. Bullock's books, mass market paperbacks. Can you? Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. Ditto with this book. I'm sure I have it in a different edition, but this one's a nice vintage copy, although it's yellowing. Rather yellowing. It's from 1971, so what's that? 52 years old, bro. I can sell it for $10, so gladly take it, even though 5 will get eaten up in shipping. How to Live with a Calculating Cat. Eventually, I'm going to acquiesce to the notion of getting cats. And since this book already has stains all over, I won't have to worry about a kitten pissing all over it. What's it say? Caviar. Let's see what the kitten's up to, bruv. Victorian frills have their uses. The hell does that mean, bruv? Didn't look Victorian at all. Hardly ever runs smooth. I don't know what this means, bruv. Copycat comes from the ancient Egyptians, Then as now, the cat had an economic value too. Egypt was the great granary of the civilized world. However, their towering warehouses could be seen by every rat and mouse for miles. They took the first road to the granaries they could find. Shut up, bitch. Let me turn off this thing. I want to read about this cat. Shut up, you're not the song. Get off there, Ed, first, bitch. They took the first road to the granaries they could find. The result would have been the thinning of the human population and the fattening of the rodent one, except for the cat. He stopped this invasion dead in its tracks. The priests who were in charge of the granaries decided to reward the cat for his fine performance, but they did not want to give him anything in the way of tangible assets, so they took the cheap way out. They made the cat a god. In those days, this was about the equivalent of being made an assistant vice president of something. Also, they made it a crime punishable by death to take a cat out of Egypt. The Egyptians called the cat Felis Khafre, and we may laugh at them for making this small animal a god, but our own ancestors called him Felis Catus. They made him out to be a devil. That's true. That's a very good point, Bubba. I like it. That's a great one. I'll have to look that one up later. The Rover by Afra Ben. Never heard of Afra Ben. Let's be honest, bruv. Let me look up Afra Ben. Need to do some more walking, so I'm not going to belabor the point here for Afra Ben, the Rover. I thought I read that it was a book from the 1700s. Increasingly, Afra Ben, the first woman professional writer, is also regarded as one of the most important writers of the 17th century. He was writing in the 1600s. Let's see if I can find her on eBay, bruv. eBay. The Rover, her most famous and most accomplished play, is in many ways firmly in the tradition of restoration drama. Wilmore, the title character, is a rake and a libertine, and the comedy feeds on sexual innuendo, intrigue, and wit. But the laughter that the play incites has a biting edge to it, and the sexual intrigue an unsettling depth. As Anne Russell points out in her introduction to this edition, there are three options for women in the society represented in the Rover: marriage, the convent, or prostitution. In this marriage economy, the witty and pragmatic virgin Alina learns how to survive, while the prostitute Angelica Bianca can retain her autonomy only so long as she remains free from romantic love. It seems that in this world, women can be freed by the anonymity of the disguise, yet the mask is also the mark of the prostitute, and paradoxically, disguise is the device that in many ways drives the plot towards marriage. Sounds exciting, bruv. I was hoping it'd be worth some monies. 173 results for the book. That's not positive. It's Afra Ben. Yeah, it sells for about $5. Oh well. I tried, bruv. Reinventing Collapse, the Soviet Example in American Prospects by Dmitry Orlov. I mainly bought this book, well, not only because it is a Russian book, which I collect, but because of this card, because this seemed an awful, strange business consultant book where the woman's just like looking down in a strange manner. Won't put her name in there, but just a weird pose, I thought. Kind of gave me a weird vibe, bruv. I hate that word, bribe. But it just gave me a weird feeling, bruv. I'll look into her and see what they say about her. The first bag, which is all paperback. Seasons of Grace, A History of the Catholic Archdiocese of Detroit. It's exactly what you expect it to be, bruv. A large tome. The laity of Time of Tradition, St. Joseph's Hospital. Oh man, my nose is itching. Yeah, so A History of a 300-year-old church or whatever it is. This book I got for no reason other than I could. An Ape of Gods, The Art and Thought of Lafcadio Hearn by Byung-Chun Yu at Wayne State University. It's well marked up. I don't know why I got it. You would think the art book of some artist would be littered with examples of his work, but there's nothing to be found in the book. There are some, I looked him up on Google, and he does have some, many colored ghosts. What's this? The Twice Told Tales. No flamboyant declaration regarding Hearn's stylistic experiment accompanied the publication of his second book, Stray Leaves, from Strange Literature in June 1884. His reticence is strange in view of the fact that at the time he was searching for what he had once termed a medium of utterance, and that this new volume signified the beginning of his long cycle of twice-told tales. I guess maybe he's a writer. Stray Leaves, Twice-Told Tales, one of the main sources of his later literary fame. Stray Leaves, I really thought this guy was a painter, which Hearn himself called the little mosaic work of legend and fable, was the unified product of his diverse interests and concerns at that time. His ambition for artistic translation, his ancient dream of a poetical prose, his study of mythology, bruv. One of the four subjects chosen for his literary pursuit, and above all, his passion for things ghostly. In the explanatory, there is a sense of modest confidence. When Hearn reflects upon his intention in performance, their colors were so weird, their luminosity so elfish, that their intrinsic value could not be wholly destroyed even by so clumsy an artificer as I. The Cedar Closet, a ghost story written 10 years before the earliest story. Well, that's interesting. He writes about ghosts, bro. Well, maybe I did the right thing and picked it. Let me put something in there as a placeholder. I can look him up later. There we go. We got an envelope in there, bruv. We'll put him aside. Look at all this. Bill Bryson in a sunburned country. Bryson's a travel writer, and I guess this is about going to Australia. Travel writing, to me, seems boring, but Bryson's pretty popular. Probably shouldn't have got this book because it seems to have some light splitting to the binding, but oh well, I got it. Speaking of ghosts, James Van Praagh, Uncovering the Truth About the Other Side, Ghosts Among Us. I believe I have a copy of this in, oh, it's fucking large print, motherfucker. Well, if I ever go blind, I could read this motherfucker. Let's see, there was a page in there. Maybe there'll be a ghost story on it, a personal ghost story. Let's get to it, bruv. Oh, no, bruv. It just seems like the tip of a page. Poltergeist, German word meaning noisy spirit. What's that? 4279. That's it. Look at that guy. Guy's a complete charlatan. Well, now I have a large print book of that. The Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. Although I've bent the shit out of the cover corner. Book is still worth about $8 to $10. Although with some writing in it, that probably takes away from it. But Merry Christmas, 1974. I have about 3 or 4 copies of this book, but not this same edition. Anyway. Ernie Harwell, Stories from My Life in Baseball. Anytime I see an Ernie Harwell book with his signature, I get it just because it's probably worth $10 to $15 minimum. And Ernie was a legend. Greatest baseball announcer there was, and died when he was like 93, about 10 years ago. Champion to the end. Yeah, so I have another signed Ernie Harwell. He was generous with his signature, to say the least, which makes his value go down somewhat, but he's still Hall of Famer. This is 50 Years with the Tigers by Fred Smith. He put a bunch of these books out. I can't remember exactly what they were, but this is mainly a compilation of those 50 years. I think he put one out just not every year, but every few years. Anyways, just about the Detroit Tigers. Different factoids about the team. Stuart Frank. This guy was a local, is probably still. I don't know if he's alive. I assume he still is. Stuart Frank. I remember hearing the name back in the day. Let me see if he's still alive. One of the most telling moments in the triptych of essays about Michigan that provide the spiritual center of this beautiful collection comes when Stuart Frank explains why he doesn't listen to CDs much in his car. At first glance, he's a surprising choice. It's a surprising choice for a man with such a deep love of music. Read his heartfelt tributes to the musicians who have moved him, and you can't help but feel that Frank could spend the rest of his life soothing his soul with the sounds of Marvin Gaye and Van Morrison, or rocking out to Mitch Ryder and the Funk Brothers. The reason Frank prefers the radio is that, as he writes in one of the memorable phrases that sparkle through his prose, American culture is a beautiful mess, and he's convinced the best way to experience the terrible and the transcendent messiness is to surrender yourself to the voice crisscrossing the airwaves. One way to read these pieces is as a record of the contradictory glories and rough and tumble conversation that can bring together Frank Sinatra and Sam and Dave, Sister Sledge, Ted Nugent, George Clinton, and the Beach Boys. Frank is Foley, blah, blah, blah. He's a local musician. I don't know if he ever made it on the national scene. I think he produced some records too. He says he's a writer too. Obviously, if he wrote a book, he's a writer. I think he might have worked for one of the local magazines or newspapers. Anyway, yeah, I got it. The Dead Sea Scrolls today, bruv. The best and most up-to-date introductory work on the scrolls that I know of. Whoa, a map of Public Museum of Grand Rapids. Cute. Never get to Grand Rapids, bro. I'll maybe check that out. Fantastic Worlds. Myths, Tales, and Stories. What is this? Borders Bookshop. 30% discount on current New York Times bestsellers. What's this say? Reversion to more primitive ancestral type. Vertiginous, rapid change. Unstable, oxymoron, a figure of speech and being. Contradictory. Cannot read what that says. Something, silence. These are apparently folk tales and fairy tales and myths. This is a good book, which I already have. I thought I did not have a nice copy, but I've replaced the library copy that I had with a nice one at some point. I think I actually bought it online. And thus, I no longer needed this one, but I bought it again, so. I walk the dead beat. People have been slipping out of this world in occupational clusters I've noticed for years. I believe this is a bunch of lost souls, lucky stiffs, and the perverse pleasures of obituaries. The reader with a survey both humorous and poignant of the wonders enfolded in the pages of an ordinary newspaper, and including many marvelous tales. The Deadbeat. Michael Donaghy wasn't famous here. What a wonderful surprise. A charming lyrical book about the men and women who write obituaries. The Deadbeat is sly, droll, and completely winning. If Marilyn Johnson had been meaner, I could have said she puts the bitch in obituary. Instead, she's a writer, written a warm, funny, appreciative book that, ironically enough, should live forever. But get it now. A joyful book about obituaries. Absolutely. Marilyn Johnson pulls it off with death-defying grace, insight, charm, and wit. In the end, what a celebration of life, bruv. What a celebration. Speaking of life, terror in the city of champions, murder, baseball, and the secret society that shocked Depression-era Detroit. Guessing this is about the Black Hand. Or not the Black Hand, but the Purple Gang. No, it's the Black Legion. Detroit, mid-1930s, is in a city abuzz over its unrivaled sports success. Gun-loving baseball fan Dayton Dean became ensnared in the deadly Black Legion. The clan-like group murdered enemies, flogged associates, and contemplated armed rebellion. Among its tens of thousands of members were politicians and prominent citizens, even possibly a beloved athlete. Terror in the City of Champions opens with the arrival of Mickey Cochran, a baseball star who roused the Great Depression's hardest hit city by leading the Tigers to the 1934 pennant, and then to its first championship. The Lions and the Red Wings followed in football and hockey, all while Joe Louis chased boxing's heavyweight crown. Amid such glory, the Legion's dreadful toll grew unchecked, and Dayton Dean's involvement deepened as heroic Mickey Cochran's reputation rose, but the ballplayer had his own demons. Award-winning author Tom Stanton weaves a stunning tale of history, crime, and sports, featuring iconic athletes, sanctimonious criminals, scheming industrial titans, bigoted radio priests, Charles Coughlin, I'm assuming, J. Edgar Hoover, and future presidents Ford and Ronald Reagan. It is a rollicking true story set at the confluence of hard luck, hope, victory, and violence. I believe I have a copy of this already, but if not, I have it now. Don't remember if I got that, but I think I did. If you follow this channel, which really nobody does, even though I have 60 followers, you've already seen the episode on Tales of Gurley where I read the entire book. It's pretty great. The Illustrated Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I don't know how many illustrated editions of this book there are, or at least editions. of this illustrated books that but I keep buying them because why not? Letters Home by Sylvia Plath, edited by Aurelia S. Plath. At some point I'll do an issue on this and just read letters of Sylvia Plath. Maybe tonight when I'm done here. I think that's actually a great idea. I'll just read letters in Sylvia's voice. I wonder if I can get an AI program. Just enter these in and have her. For our German unit tonight, we had to translate, explicate a poem, a piece by Rainier Marie Rilke. This is one of those books that I buy just for my own Detroit collection, just in case there's a fragment on a restaurant or a park or whatever that I am researching and see if there's any little tidbit. I've been found otherwise. It is a sign, not that there's any value to the Hunt's Guide to Southeast Michigan, but there is to me. More Russian writing, Boris Pasternak, My Sister Life, and the Zhivago poems. Oh, I found quite a few things about the Zhivago, Dr. Zhivago book, in both explication and biography and whatever you can think of. Elves, Hobbits, Elves, and Wizards, exploring the wonders and worlds of J.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. Includes a new essay on the first part of the Lord of the Rings film trilogy by Michael Stanton. I don't really care about that, but I got it. Why not? Something to sell along with other Tolkien products. Alcatraz number 1259 among my collections are. Whoa, did that say the Detroit News? Don't fuck with these guards. Thought I saw some Detroit. Maybe this guy's from Detroit. I hope so. That'd be great if he is. William G. Baker. I swore I saw some Detroit News. There it is. Jackie was born to leave my grandmother and take off to Detroit with my newborn brother in her arms. Maybe there is a connection. True account of life at Alcatraz, written by a former prisoner. His story takes you inside prison walls. It's as real as the sound of the cell door slamming shut. William G. Baker. 80-year-old out to pasture. William G. Baker, Alcatraz, age 23, a bad, bad boy. What year was this? I'm guessing he's probably dead by now. Yeah, he'd be in his 90s if he ain't dead. Anyway, that'll be all. That should be all, brovs.